Nice hit. Oh, nice bass. Right off the edge of some rocks. You know, you just got to keep casting and keep casting and keep casting. I just can't get over how these largemouth are inhaling the spinnerbait. I think it's got a lot to do with the spinnerbait. It's a very good quality spinnerbait. This guy almost ate it. You'll see when I land him. Right, you know that when a largemouth is hooked, you know, like that, right through the side, he's really whacked that spinnerbait. Look at how big their bellies are. Nice, healthy largemouth. Beautiful fish. They're ideal because you can get them all day long, right through the summer. It doesn't matter how warm it is. You don't have to start fishing early in the day. I think that's why a lot of people like the bass fish. Of course, you know, some guys like to go into bass tournaments, and that's their excuse for getting a nice bass boat and so on. But I just think they're great fish that you can catch as a family, especially with kids. Especially if you're using spinnerbaits like this, you just cast out and retrieve them back. And when you feel a thud, a heavy weight, just keep reeling, basically. The fish literally hook themselves. Oh, smaller guy. Even the little guys are so much fun. I'm trying to get him back in the water quick. There. You can see that there's a white bottle. That bottle is actually marking a rock pile that I've been fishing that comes out all the way from shore behind me. And I hit a large rock bass inside. I just had a big pike on a little while ago. And it looks like the largemouth are at the end. But we're literally out, I would say, a few hundred yards from shore. So a lot of guys that fish bass will fish the shorelines, and they'll cast to boat docks and so on, and that works great. But a lot of times you can find schooling largemouth, like I have here, that are out in open water but still related to weeds and structure. And don't be fooled, just because I'm getting these little guys, at any time you can hook like a 3 to 5 pound fish. So the key is to locate the fish. So I'm casting here in all different directions, kind of looking at how beautiful the day turned out, because it was kind of nasty earlier today. Trying to make sure that my blades don't have any weeds on them. You know, if you fish at all, I'm sure you've seen lots of spinnerbaits, whether they're in the large merchandise stores or the little mom and pop shops. You can even get them in the bulk area, where a lot of people will, you know, create their own designs at home, and then they'll sell them to the stores. Over the years, I've used a lot of spinnerbaits, but I got to tell you, I'm very impressed with these titanium Terminator spinnerbaits. Now, what I wanted to tell you was just a difference in blades, because these kind of all look the same. They are, in fact, all spinnerbaits. But the big difference with blades is that if you have a blade that's more oval, like this one here, the bait is going to run a little slower, because the oval blade, and one of the most common ones is a Colorado blade, it has more water resistance when you're retrieving it. So that means you can fish it slower. I prefer to use a Colorado blade when I'm fishing shallower water, less than 10 feet. If you use a willow leaf blade like the one that's here, because it's thin, there's less water resistant, it's going to sink quicker, and you're going to be able to reel it faster. So a Colorado or a wide blade is good when fish are less active. You want to keep the lure in their strike zone, or you're fishing shallow water and you don't want your spinnerbait to go down in the weeds. Today, because of the conditions, I knew that the bass would probably be feeding, because we had a lot of wind the last 2 days. So all of the contact areas that I was fishing, points, weed lines, structure areas, even bridge abutments, what I would do is I would use the natural color spinnerbait. So I got all of my fish on the natural color, and in fact all on the Colorado blade, the blade that's wider, because most of the fish were very active and in shallower water. If I was fishing days where the water's flat like oil, and you've got bright sunny skies, and you doubt, you don't have the confidence that fish are feeding, that's when you should be using the painted blades, either the white, the chartreuse, or even high contrast colors like red and white, and even black and white and black and chartreuse, or chartreuse with red spots. So sometimes using the right color can make a big difference whether the fish are feeding or whether you need to make them strike. And that way you'll catch more fish.
Canadian Sport Fishing has been brought to you by Rapala Premium Fishing Gear, crafted from experience. Yamaha on the water. This is my Yamaha. What kind of Yamaha are you? Dickies, a legend in work since 1922. lucky strike. More fish fight with a lucky strike.
You can see it's very low profile. I just hit the line release button, and what I'm going to do here is actually take the side of the reel off. Okay, so hold on a sec here. Okay, so I've just taken the reel off. You can see it's very simple construction. This is the spool. If you wanted to get additional spools, you could. Okay, so there's the spool. I'm going to leave it in there for a minute. But what I wanted to talk about is this pin system. We call it a brake system. See how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins? You can see that 3 of them have actually been pulled out. That pin is in. This one is out. When I say out, watch, I'm going to push it in. Okay, that one is in. That one is in. See how I pushed it in? And this one I'm going to push in as well.